Welcome to Pixelated episode 83. I'm your host, Will Saddleberg. This week, we've brought in practically the entire 9 to 5 Google team for a special year-end episode. In addition to myself, Damien, and Abner, Andrew Romero, Ben Schoon, and Jordan Floyd are joining us today to assemble a tier list of all sorts of 2025 launches. From smartphones to OS upgrades, VR headsets to smartwatches, we're about to spend the next 90 minutes ranking the best and worst of all things Android related. It's all coming up.
So it's our end of year special, gang. We have some special guests with us, and I'm not actually going to be leading processions today. It's actually going to be Master of Ceremonies. William is going to take it from here. This is a very fun episode, hopefully. There's going to be some fights, some fallouts, and we're all going to be friends at the end of it. So William, please give us some information about what we are going to be doing here today on Pixelated.
Yeah, I'm excited to welcome, so I'll in addition to Damien and Abner, I'm excited to welcome Ben Schoon. Ben, say hi.
Hello.
Hi, Ben. Jordan Floyd.
Hey, how are we?
And Andrew Romero.
How's it going?
Which is most of the 9 to 5 Google crew, to be honest. We got as many of us as we could together to do a tier list. We're going to do a tier list of some products released this year. It's mostly hardware. There's a couple software things in there, but Google and then kind of the broader Android ecosystem, just figuring out S, A, B, C, D, F tier, where do we go with these things? So we have 22 things. We're going to try to go through this kind of as quickly as we can without wasting too much time on anything. So I'm just going to jump right into it. For future listeners, if you don't want to be spoiled, don't look in the show notes because the final photo should be there. But right now we're getting started with, this is mostly random, I think. So we're getting started with the Nothing Phone 3. Who wants to start debating where the Nothing Phone 3 should be?
We're talking about the main flagship, right?
Main flagship.
I've been using this phone since launch. I know everyone hates it, but if it was in the $500 price range, I think everyone, if it had the Snapdragon 8 Elite, I don't think everyone would be as upset as they are right now.
Yeah.
Nothing OS 4 added a little bit that helped it feel more fun, like AI generated widgets, which I know people don't like AI, but AI generated widgets are a fun way to engage with AI. I'm trying to think of the other features in there too. They made a curated store as well, so you could download community-made EQs, community-made glyphs, and camera presets, plus the AI-generated widgets, all inside one little storefront, so you can easily find it. So they're finding their footing. It probably would have been more useful to have these aspects at launch, but I think it's more fun of a phone than people are giving it credit for. So maybe for the general community, let's do C tier, but for me personally, it's a B tier phone for sure.
Anyone else feeling strong on C tier? Want to argue up,
B.
down?
I think B.
Yeah, I would also say B.
Interesting.
It's, I think, an objectively good phone, especially because the bar for what is a good phone in 2025 was interesting.
Yeah,
I definitely
agree.
give it a B, especially like in the context of the Pixel 10. I think if you're not buying a Pixel, it's one of the better choices.
That's high praise.
Yeah, I think B. B's a perfect positioning for this, especially given the fact that a lot of people maybe wanted it to be in that S tier. Like, I think there was a lot of, Jordan alluded to it, there's too much expectation placed on it. I think it just landed where it needed to land, personally. Maybe it was a little bit overpriced.
Let's do low B then. I'll keep it on the lower side of B.
Low
I think
B,
that's where we're landing.
C plus? Is C plus an option?
It is in our mind. Great. From the Nothing Phone 3 to a device that I think will need even less time to decide a category for. The Galaxy S25 Edge. We spun the Edge out on its own primarily because it was its own months later launch compared to the rest of the S25 series, which is coming up bundled together. I'll jump in and right away say this. I don't think can go higher than a D because this phone flopped so hard that it allegedly forced Samsung to change their 2026 plans like 4 months out.
Do you think? I think if this was. I think if it was part of the regular S25 lineup and it was like the entry thing, I think we'd be talking about a B tier phone.
Yeah, I agree.
Am I wrong in that?
I don't think
know.
it's like an awful phone aside from the battery life. I think it's wildly overpriced and couldn't really find a niche to grab onto, a market demand. And Apple's seen that as well a little bit with the iPhone Air.
Let me ask you this then. If it flops so hard and it caused Samsung to completely divert, how can it be higher than an F?
I don't think,
because the hardware in itself is impressive. They executed it. Samsung has engineering prowess at the end of the day, and I think that pure engineering capability and what has been applied to the phone is what saves it from an F.
Yeah,
I guess I'm going off
you've
reception then in my head, but yeah, I can.
So we're going D minus.
We'll go D. We'll go D minus.
As long as it's not C is great.
The phone didn't
Also,
explode, you know?
True.
I think it's worth to mentioning
that
right now.
technically is the bar.
I think it's worth mentioning right now that on Swappa, like the used market right now, this phone, it's less than 7 months old, by the way, is anywhere from $540, maxing out at around $600 on the third-party market. So I feel like the community has spoken on how desired this is.
Like it's 10. It's either $4.99 or $5.99 on Google Fi store, and I still can't bring myself to buy it as a one-off thing.
Okay, we've got to go F then.
It's
If Abner's saying that,
$800
Abner's
brand
champion,
new on
it's gotta
Amazon
be
right now.
I'm willing to go F. Are we saying F?
Let's go F.
I still think it's D.
D?
I think
Just
it's
from an
D on a
engineering
good day.
talent.
Yes, I agree.
It
It's
really
fun.
just depends on your perspective of it. If you're looking at reception, how people have gauged it value-wise, F. But as far as the engineering goes, the idea is great. I mean, we've talked about this at length before. The thin phone idea.
Let's go F for fun. F for fun.
I'll keep it at D for now. We'll come back at the end and see if we want to drop it to F after everything else. From one ultra thin Samsung product to another, we have the Fold 7 as well as the Flip 7. We decided, Damien, Abner, and I decided to combine these together just because it felt like the Flip or the Fold 7 might completely explode to S tier if we didn't bog it down a little bit with a perfectly fine, if boring phone. So how do we feel about Samsung's foldable efforts in 2025?
A.
Yeah.
And Ben, you are, as far as the Fold 7 goes, you are the person that I look for in terms of knowing how to feel. Do you have any? I mean, it's still your daily driver 6 months in, correct?
It's still my daily driver.
Yeah.
No, it's truly a great foldable. It is by far the best one this year. It's absolutely an A. The Flip 7 is still. I don't know if the Flip 7 is as much like unimpressive as it is that no one really got to spend any time with it, like on the review side. But it's as good as any other Flip has been at bare minimum, which was still good.
It feels a little bit like this would be like S and B tier if we split them up. And so I think A makes perfect sense. But Samsung, the Fold 7, I think really turned around the narrative around that company in a way that I was not expecting.
And the market spoke too.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. The Fold is, I think it's probably one of the few S tier phones of the year.
Yeah.
But I do think the Flip drags it down a little bit, which is fine. I think it's right where it needs to be an A. And it's surprising, right? Because we're going to talk about some other Samsung products later on in this pod. And it's almost like all of their innovation went into two devices that are divisive for different reasons. So yeah, it's got to be an A. It's got to be an A tier for these two.
We have our first out of left field pick, I would say, which is the 2025 Nest portfolio. So any Nest product launch this year. I would also include software improvements, I think is a fair bet. So any Gemini applications added to existing hardware, I think could also be, but maybe the state of Nest is a good way to say this. Who wants to jump in?
Okay, so if we're looking at just the hardware, just the 2K camera revamp, I would say that's like a low A, high B.
Okay.
Because they were overdue upgrades, but I don't think Google went quite far enough. I would have really liked to see an updated battery model, and maybe some new form factor. Software wise, the Gemini for Home stuff, the voice assistant is sorely needed. The Google Home app updates are very good. The Gemini like supercharge of notifications and everything else. If I were to put it all together,
It's
probably like just barely an A to me.
Okay. Anybody else want to jump in here? I feel like Ben is the expert when it comes to smart home, to Google's smart home portfolio. I this is a world that I am tangentially in, so I will cede the floor.
I mean, it was kind of a needed step, right?
Yeah,
to bring
I
it on
agree.
the software side, because we've already got other companies like Arlo has really good AI notifications, in the sense that it content detection, which is something that's kind of been, that hole has been left by security, at least smart home security stuff. I feel like A is right.
A is strong.
I wouldn't put anything above that.
Actually, I will say I want to knock it down to B, and I only want to knock it down to B because none of it is fully rolled out. It's all early access,
Right.
Sure,
and
yeah.
public preview.
Sure.
So, like, if you don't enroll in everything, you get none of it.
I am curious though, Ben and Andrew, because I think you guys probably used it the most. Is Google Assistant officially as good or better? Or I guess the other way around. Is Gemini as good or better than the Google Assistant implementation? Like, did they do it right or no?
So I only got Gemini for Home enabled on my account like a week ago because ADT slows that down for some reason, I think, or I just didn't get the rollout early. I have yet to use it in any capacity beyond what Assistant was.
Yeah.
But it works fine, and that is technically better than Assistant was doing.
It has completely broken my automations, if that's worth anything.
really?
Is it?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think that might cement it at B then.
Yeah. I have one of the only automations I ever call for audibly is my good night app automation, which turns off all the lights that I want inside, leaves all the outside lights on, whatever.
Pours you a glass of milk.
Right, exactly. Microwaves the midnight snack and then makes me breakfast. But that has completely broken, and now I have to, God forbid, I have to go into the Google Home app and hit the little play button next to the automation in the automations page.
Brutal.
And that's a nightmare now. So F.
I
But
feel for you so bad.
Andrew's living on the
That is
frontier over
disgusting.
here. He's roughing it.
but now it answers in an Australian accent. I set it to for some reason.
Back to S. No, I'm kidding. I think B's good. I think B feels like where we've landed on that.
B feels fair,
It's a promising B though. I think that's higher than it would have been in previous years.
In 6 months, an easy A.
Yeah, as long as they stay on this route they're on. The Pixel Buds 2A. Has anyone here used these besides me?
Yes,
I
I have
use
used
them. Physically a nice object. It is definitely a more refined take on the Pixel Buds Pro 2.
Yeah.
So I definitely like that hardware, but the lack of touchpad controls is always damning. And it's such a weird thing for companies to choose to gate. So I think it's no higher than a B based on that, though with a very high B in my book.
I would put them C because the audio is still
I agree.
quite a few lower than it needs to be. I think there is an opportunity. It depends how they handle software. If they, but then again, what can you add to earbuds that are going to make a real game-changing difference?
Yeah.
If they could have one major software update that somehow manages to fix my complaints with them, then I think they could be a B, and I just middle of the road B.
Yeah.
I think they are C. They're a C product all day, every day, and that's fine. I think that's fine for earbuds.
especially for this more affordable style.
Yes.
I do think that the affordability, I'm thinking about in comparison to what the AirPods 4 launched this year. It's cheaper than that with ANC, though then again, the ANC is just fine.
Yeah.
It's nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
Do you use ANC all the time? Or is it like a situational thing?
I only
I'm a
use
one
ANC or
earbud
pass
person.
through. Yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
I mean, my biggest problem is, and this is why I'm putting it as a C. My frame of reference for wireless earbuds on Android is OnePlus Buds Pro 3, and I talk about it as much as humanly possible because they are genuinely phenomenal. They slap the AirPods Pro 2, which I don't have the new generation.
Yeah.
They slap them all over, and if that's my frame of reference, everything else is going to be way below.
Skewed,
I think they're S tier. So maybe my opinion of it's a bit skewed, but I do think that they're fine. They are a much needed follow up. They could become part of that Pixel Buds Pro 2 lineup now properly. I like the fact that you can use the case with it's cross compatible with Pixel Buds Pro 2. So that's a happy accident. So maybe that should get an S tier section of its own. I didn't know that.
I'll throw them in low B. I think for me they might be a C tier too, but I'll bump it up just a bit. My biggest problem with them, the audio quality is good enough. The ANC is good enough. The pass through is not great, but it's fine. For me, it's always inevitably when I'm wearing them, there will come a time where I reach up like I do with other earbuds to control the volume, and I remember I can't do that. It's like it's really their Achilles heel, in my opinion. There are other cut corners, but for me, that's the biggest one. That would probably drop it down to a C for me personally. But I think low B is probably a more well-rounded place for them to land.
I have to say, Will, when I read your review and you said there was no volume controls on the actual unit themselves, I literally did not believe you. I could not believe that feature is on $50 earbuds. So I had to triple check myself, and that is such a... If it wasn't for that, I'd have zero complaints, personally, especially for the price. I'd have zero complaints. That is too much, but...
No, I agree. Next up is this is another combo pack, the OnePlus 13 and the 13R. Who wants to start?
S. It's got to be S every day of the week. S. There is no two ways about it. Yep. This is the OnePlus 13 alone is still the best phone of 2025. I don't care what anybody says. I will fight you in the streets. I think it's fantastic.
I love the OnePlus 13. I think is hit such a high bar at the start of the year. I really loved using that phone, and I don't think anything gave me the same. Sir, I don't think a smartphone camera, and I'm a little bit limited in that 99% use phones that are released in North America. So those huge 1-inch sensors you can get in Europe and elsewhere are not really something that's ever in my pocket. But the OnePlus 13 has more than any other phone I think ever given me like those moments of like, oh my God, I can't believe I just took this photo. So like that alone, I have some software issues, especially with Oxygen OS 16 on this device. But in terms of just sheer hardware and the joy of using it and the style, I like the look of it. I think it's a great phone. And I think the R is like a great, like we cut a couple corners, but you're still getting a great experience for the price kind of device.
Yeah. I think, Jordan, you use the 13R, right? I think when we talk about the 13 and the 13R, they're like perfectly complement each other at different price points.
Definitely do. And I think the R series is such good value for the money. Even though you're getting last year's processor is amazing, especially if you can get the R series on sale on top of that. I can't think of a better deal in tech. Like if you're looking for the most, I hate this phrase, but it's the most bang for your buck, the R series, especially during the holiday time, I don't think you can get a better deal. Every year I compare it to the Pixel, which it's not a fair comparison technically because Pixel is more smart while the 15 or the R series is more, raw hardware, but still it's nice to have great options either side you want to go with. You want raw hardware, the R series is perfect. If you want a smartphone, the A series is great too, but oh man, the R series is that flagship killer, quote unquote type device. It's really good.
The contrast here is wild because not to date anything, but 15R just launched this morning, North America. and then 15 come out. I know that's next year's stuff technically. But everything you're saying
15's on this list. I will say, not to spoil,
okay.
but we are going to rank the 15. We're not going to do the 15
we'll
R just because it is just coming out. But
right.
But yeah, I agree. I know exactly where you're going with this, and yeah, if you want to save it for the 15, it's
that's fine. I was just going to. I mean, just to put a little pin on it, it's just
sure.
What Jordan was saying is the complete opposite of the feelings around next year's stuff technically. So it's just a fun contrast.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that part.
and to wrap this one up in a little bow, and why I think it's S tier is my initial impressions of the OnePlus 13 weren't initially like wowed me straight away. Do you know what I mean? Like I think because I held the 12 in such high regard, it was almost like a sleeper special phone, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think with the 13, like they downgraded some things, and I was very worried that it was going to ruin the hard work that OnePlus does this, right? They do that 2 steps forward, 3 back kind of sometimes. And it felt like they were going to do that, and they've absolutely nailed it. Within the first 2 months, a couple of updates, the 13, I struggled to switch back to other phones from using it. I've kept mine on Oxygen OS 15. I'm not going to talk about Oxygen OS 16 because we'll save that for later. But I think that if we judging it on Oxygen OS 15 and say July early this year, it's S tier every day of the week.
Yeah. We're going to switch gears for the next 2 entries. This is the fun of tier lists, that it just randomizes it for me, so you never know what you're going to get. We're going to do a couple software builds. This is we talked about it a little bit, but Nothing OS 4, which is kind of just launching. But this is Nothing's Android 16 update, which has been controversial. Ben, I'll throw to you first, perhaps.
So yeah, I haven't had much of a chance to use it yet. I'm actually going to be going back to Nothing Phone 3 soon to spend some time with it. But Nothing OS 4 is basically like taking some extra AI and throwing it in there, both in terms of there's like an AI dashboard, which I don't know who is asking for. And then the AI widgets, which do seem kind of neat. But also they introduced that lock glimpse feature, which is just really weird, sketchy lock screen ads, which continue to get more sketchy the more they're looked into. But they're only on the A series. Like on the surface, it's a fine update, but I really feel like this is kind of the beginning of the, when we look back at OnePlus and when they, went from the CyanogenMod days and the old days of Oxygen OS to the Color OS days. Yeah, I feel like we're kind of starting down that path.
I agree.
I again, I haven't had enough time to use it. I don't know if you have, Jordan. To meet my guts is like a low C.
Okay, Jordan,
because it's not. It doesn't seem like objectively awful. It just there's
it's a step back.
Weird things in there. It's a step back without that many clear steps forward, if that makes sense.
It does.
That makes sense.
That's a great way to explain it. The features at Nothing. This is the full Android 16 update. So Nothing added maybe 10 features. And then we have all the features from the Android 16 update itself. It has a little bit of the Material 3 Expressive in the notification shade and such. I agree with you that this is kind of Nothing fans want more, but at the same time they need like this minimalist style, like they're kind of forced into it. So I think that we are going to start seeing what you alluded to, like more, help me out here. This is a little off.
It's more commercial, maybe. It's less enthusiast focused and more. More.
And they have to.
Yeah, it's kind of both what and I don't believe Nothing's a public company,
Xiaomi.
but it's what the industry wants or like shareholders would want and what will make money as opposed to oh yeah, we built this thing for the fans because we're like a fan, which happens to every enthusiast company like this. It's the exact comparison for OnePlus. So yeah, C feels right. It's not like in like a world-ending update, but it's not like a big step
It could have
forward.
been more.
Yeah.
It could have been more.
Speaking of Oxygen OS 16. I think this update is awful. I think it's Damien, you just published a video about this, so I will let you take the floor.
So my opinion is, at the heart of it, it's still good.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
I do not know what the obsession is, and I think I talked about it in a previous episode, is there seems to be an obsession with Android makers to not look internally and look at what Apple are doing. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you...
Yeah.
I mean, even if there's some influencers and they can say, we came up with this on our own, every single person seems to want to be doing these clear UI panes. Like, if it worked, people would have done it 10 years ago. Why they made changes for the sake of making changes in a lot of respects. And it's almost like they've, again, this is in typical OnePlus fashion, undone the good work that they did with Oxygen OS 15, which I think is fantastic. And I loved it to pieces. I agree with you. This probably cannot be above a D.
I agree.
I don't want to put it in F only because it's still technically Oxygen OS at its core, Oxygen OS 15, but with a new lick of paint. Do you think D seems fair?
I do.
I don't know.
It didn't break anything that I liked about Oxygen OS necessarily, but I would say everything it added, I felt took away from what I liked about Oxygen OS. And Ben in particular can probably confirm this, but like, this time last year, I was pretty big on Oxygen OS on the OnePlus 13 and was like, same. I don't understand why you would use One UI when like Oxygen OS kind of offers
Oxygen OS exists.
Yeah, it offers me the same like pro level tools, but like in a layout I preferred. And I don't think that stuck around with this one. I think everything they added started to, at the very least, get in the way of what I liked about it, which is frustrating. So I hate to say it, but I agree. I think D tier is correct for this one.
With how much you guys are disappointed with the software, the OnePlus 13 being an S tier seems a bit optimistic.
Yeah,
but this software is way after though, right?
Yeah.
It's like 6 to 9 months later. Like it's almost like
it's what people have to live with now. It's
I guess
it's not
so.
like
I
they
guess
can stay on a software version. We don't have that in this day and age. Just interesting.
That's a really good point. We will come back to it.
We'll come back. We'll come back. We'll do a final pass at the end. We'll do a not on everything, but we'll do a like. Does anybody want to like re-argue a point, move something? We'll come to it. We have reached the big category in this one. I feel like this is the one that is going to take more than the 3-ish minutes we've been averaging to talk about. This is the Pixel 10 series, the 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, 10 Pro Fold. A very divisive series of phones, I would say, across the internet. I don't know if that's so much here, but I'm excited to see what you guys think. Who wants to jump in?
So there is inherently, coming from the Pixel 9 series to the 10 series, it's the same design.
Yeah.
And that inherently, there's a quote unquote boringness to it that's just unavoidable. It feels the same, it looks the same. The colors aren't, there's a blue color, but it's whatever. So there is some, on the software point, a somewhat meh. On the hardware, there's somewhat of a meh to it. So I think I'm starting off there with my assessment.
What do we think? Okay, let me break it down into where I think each individual device lands, and then I'll maybe try and work an average on it. Mm-hmm. So I think the Pixel 10 addresses a lot of complaints that we've always had with the base model Pixel. It gets that telephoto. It has a lot of things that have been improved. That's great. I'm pleased for it. That alone would probably get an A tier for the base model.
I can agree with that.
The Pro tier isn't enough of an upgrade for most people, which is absolutely fine. Yeah. I think that probably sits at B or C.
B.
The Fold, the Fold is the Fold again, but with some minor improvements. That's got to be C. No higher than C if we're comparing it to last year.
B minus C plus, because the hinge is an underrated thing, which I think Andrew can attest to.
But when we consider
that holding up,
also,
but when this can exist,
yeah, that's true.
When the Fold exists in that space, and this is you're going toe to toe in North American market with this. For the listeners out there, I'm holding the Galaxy Z Fold 7, Z Fold 7. When this exists, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is a really, really tough sell. I just do not think anybody should go anywhere else than this, personally, in a lot of markets.
Well, I mean, that's why it's a tier list, right? Because we've already put without the flip, right? We've already set the Fold 7 as high as we can put it.
Yeah.
The Flip is the little brother you bring to a date. That's kind of putting a damper on the situation. So in comparison, the Fold brings it down. Those little improvements, they should have made these improvements a year ago. I feel they're not. I don't think they're big enough to warrant. And this is for the Fold. I don't think they're big enough to warrant the bearing the weight of the entire upgrade. The hinge being more dust resistant, stronger, battery being slightly better. That was a huge thing for me personally. But also with the hinge being thinner, it completely changed how the phone felt in your hand. To me, and I know you're giving me that look, but that little, like that 1 millimeter difference coming in, making it thinner, like at the face, that completely changed how it felt holding it, because it didn't feel like this one-sided device anymore, like a little book with a thick spine. It kind of just felt like the Fold 7, more or less. Definitely not as thin. I still like that outer display more though on this device than the Fold 7. But that's preferential.
Seems like the B- from C+. And the hinge, the longevity should not be ignored. Like with the dust protection and the redesigned hinge mechanism, I think that speaks volumes for longevity.
Yeah, I won't argue a C for that, or I won't argue against that.
Okay, so if we say C for that,
B.
I'm really torn. I'm really torn. Yeah, I'm really torn because I think it sits in that middle ground between B and C for the entire series, because it's almost like they've consolidated with the Pixel 10. The entire series is consolidated, and that's not a negative. It just, do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm trying to quantify it in my brain because I'm using the Pixel 10 Pro XL and I used the 9 Pro XL last year, but then I switched. I think when did the S25 was a phone that actually made me fully switch to Samsung for a long time. So I had like a long period of time with Samsung instead of Pixel. Yeah. And I can't see myself doing that this year now. So in that respect, maybe in my brain, I'm like, yeah, it is an upper B possibly, but yeah, I don't know.
I think a B. I think that's where we are.
Yeah.
I don't think the base 10 has enough to bring it into an A, though the pricing can be competitive as we're seeing this holiday season.
Yeah.
And with the software updates, with the pretty reliable software updates, I think at best it's an A-, but I don't think there's anything on the hardware front that brings that up into an A category. So it's a high B probably.
I think my argument for hardware is Qi 2.
And that's coming up. We do have Pixel Snap as its own. It still counts here. But
as the accessories on the accessory side, definitely. I know we'll get to that, but on the hardware side for the phones themselves, I think that Qi 2 is enough to at least give it that A-, just because it is like
they are the first time
they're the first, but also just like the experience of using the phone is so much better.
It is
because
better.
It has that in it.
And this won't be. This is not a sentiment that's shared among a ton of people. But once you've used to use Apple's term MagSafe, Qi 2 connectivity, going to a different phone without it feels like night and day. It's such a big. It feels like a huge deficit.
I have gotten I've only had this little I wrote about it a couple weeks ago on the site, but I've had this little magnetic puck that is magnetic on both sides for a couple weeks now, and like genuinely just like working out and like slapping my phone up on the squat rack is so much nicer than having to be like, where'd I leave my phone? Why is it on the floor? It's so great. So like I'll hear it. I'll hear. I was gonna argue for a B because of the 128 gigabyte starting placement.
That's why I'm gonna argue. I think that should bring it down to a B because there is basically this does this thing to pricing where what it does is you should not buy the 128 gigabyte version because you are basically buying 2019 storage technology when there's 2022 storage technology available, which is insane to say out loud again. It should be a B plus, because the storage means that you have to pay that extra $100 to get the most competent version of each device, apart from the Pro XL.
Yeah, but so that's I think 2 out of 4. That's half. Half of them have moved to 256.
Yeah, but those two halves. Those two, the base 10, I think we should try to judge it from that, because that is when everyone's going to get.
Where's the competitive landscape of where everybody else is in the space?
Everyone Apple's at 256.
Yeah, Apple's the comparison here.
Apple, but
even Apple's at 256 now. That is
I think B+.
Argument.
I think B+ is fair. Everything all said and done. I think there's a lot of. I think all of us like this phone more than the broader internet does. but. I don't know. I feel like they're solid releases, and Google maybe just falls short of that A tier. I think is where we're landing. I think there's
which is good. Which when we logically think about that, considering it is, let's just say for all intents and purposes, it is the same phone again, slightly improved, like the 9 Plus effectively, or 9S, whatever you want to call it. That's fantastic. To get a B+, possibly scraping an A, is phenomenal, really, considering, because a lot of other brands don't get away with that.
That's true.
And also, I think a big part of it is, I feel like Google has this weird benefit of their target audience is maybe a lot more casual. Like their target audience, I feel like they don't need the best of the best cameras, the best of the best hardware. Like Pixels don't sell based on hardware, at least to me these days. You know what I'm saying? So for like the hardcore spec nerds, it's a B+. But I feel like to everyone else that just needs a normal phone that works and you get it on a simple sale, that group of people will definitely think this is an A tier phone. I feel like, or the series is A tier all day, even though us as people who appreciate the specs definitely, y'all speak for yourselves, but for me personally, for someone that appreciates specs, I'm a little bit disappointed.
That's fair. Well, and that's where the OnePlus 13 or 15 even comes in. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm happy with this. We'll circle back at the end, but I think this is good. I think it's
very nuanced, but I think it's a good spot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We have our first wearable. There's only a couple on here. It's the Galaxy Watch 8 and the Watch 8 Classic. The Ultra did not receive enough of an update this year to qualify. So just these two watches. How are we feeling about Samsung's wearable efforts in 2025?
I'll run through the wall on this one. I think the Watch 8 Classic might be my favorite smartwatch of all time. But that's I like the look a lot. And I know we've gone through the whole, what is a Squircle cushion back design, back and forth and all this. And
does that Squircle give you anything though? Does it
happiness,
meaningfully better battery life or whatever? It's just.
But that's the thing, is it does nothing other than give the case a little more room for battery and provide like that 3D depth look. Because if you compare the Pixel Watch 4, any Pixel Watch, to specifically the 8 Classic, you're looking at what is rudimentarily a 2D device, what feels like a 2D device, excluding the dome screen, versus something that has more depth, like an actual timepiece. And watch nerds will fight me on this. And I get that. It's not the same as an analog or mechanical watch, but at the same time, it has enough of design homage to feel like a really good looking watch. And then this isn't even to excuse the software, because that doesn't hold it back at all. In my opinion, I really enjoy using One UI 8 watch technically with everything they've done with it, all the improvements. They feel like Wear OS 6 and that haven't really devolved into anything different, than what it's kind of just building on what it is. And I really appreciate that. And overall, I've really enjoyed it. And not even to touch on the Watch 8. The Watch 8 is good too. But specifically, I would give the 8 Classic an S. And I know that not many people agree with me on that. But that's my take.
Anybody else? I have not used these, so I unfortunately can't comment.
I completely forgot about them. So I forgot they existed. I have one in my drawer. I don't know where it is.
I did not use either long term. I would not super argue against S. If only the only reason I maybe would be what we'll talk about later. Yeah. So my only knocks against this watch are I think the design, the squirrel design looks good on the classic. I don't really like it as much on the base model.
Okay.
My biggest knock is genuinely just the band situation, because not only did they switch from, something open to a proprietary band, but they didn't even use the normal proprietary band that they introduced a year ago. They had to make a brand new one. So like the few accessories that were building up out there immediately got thrown away, and they had to start from scratch. And I don't love that. That would be my main knock against it. Aside from that, it's fine. Like the value's good. They're well priced.
I will argue that if you're using bands like I do, which are just, I think is it 20 millimeter or 21 millimeter pins? I mean, the proprietary band that comes with at least the classic just pops out.
Yeah, but it's only the classic. The base one comes with a silicone band.
Right.
You have to buy an adapter.
That's
or
different.
Another band.
How do we feel about A tier?
Yeah, I think A's A.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
A.
Andrew loves it. Ben's indifferent.
The other thing
I
too
think
is I do want to add, it is the classic, and it comes as a addition to a lineup that already has an ultra model, which is the more fitness model.
Right.
The thing though is if you're paying for the classic, which is a higher price, I forget the MSRP, it's not as much as the ultra by much at all, but it doesn't feel like a watch you'd want to use doing any of the things that it tracks, and that feels wrong in a way. Like it has the action button. I can set the action button to start a workout or a bike ride, but do I really want to do that with this watch? Because of your rotating bezel, stuff gets stuck in there. It's just natural part of watch use, that feels like a downside to it. And I don't know that I'd feel comfortable with A. S is me just being, really positive about it. But.
Well, I'm trying to include the 8 in there, right? And so I feel like maybe that equals out a little bit.
I'll also say I'm comfortable with an A just because, like, on paper, it's objectively the best Wear OS watch. Like, the price is really good. It tracks everything. You don't have to pay a subscription. The hardware is good. You get sapphire glass. Like, objectively, it is the best. It just is a matter of taste, which is what a watch should be.
Right.
I feel like the OnePlus Watch 3 should also be on this tier list.
Oh man, we forgot the OnePlus Watch 3. I genuinely didn't mean to do
battery
that.
life.
And Damien, you love that watch. And I didn't even think about it. Oh man. Okay.
Wait, was that actually 2025?
I think
I thought that was 2024.
Yeah. No, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was 2024. That's why
Was it 2020?
It's been a long year.
Oh my god,
right?
it was this year. It was in February.
It was this year.
Okay,
well, you can do
honorary
let's
placement.
do a shotgun
It's
one.
a B.
Where would we? 30 seconds. Where would we put the Watch 3? I will add it.
Just put it A.
Okay.
I say
A.
B.
battery life, that bulky, beautiful
Yeah, that
design.
battery life.
Oh my god.
Screen's really nice.
Sorry,
I think
Ben,
it's
you've
an
been outvoted. It's A.
I don't know. Put it in B. It's not,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not square enough.
It really is good.
The Moto Razr 2025 series. This is a photo of the Ultra, but I'm going to include the entire thing here. Mostly because I think it's like a deeply flawed lineup, and honestly, if it was just the base model, I would argue like A tier, and the Plus and the Ultra weirdly bring it down. But I'm curious what everybody else thinks.
I don't know who here has used a Motorola phone. I'm just gonna be honest.
So, personally, excuse the dogs in the background. I can't get them to shut up.
I'll do my best.
I would say the Razr is a strong C.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because, the whole thing. The Ultra is a good experience, but it is way overpriced.
Overkill and overpriced. Yeah.
The base model is a really good deal.
Yeah. I agree.
But it's just a hair too slow because both of them are hindered by Motorola's increasingly iffy software.
Which I should say is the one major North American software build not on those lists, mostly because one, I couldn't find a good picture for it. And two, it's just like, I don't really have anything interesting to say other than it's just not very good. I agree with you that Motorola's skin has gone from like totally like, well, and the other reason is actually because I don't know if any phone has Android 16's Motorola build yet, but
nothing in the US. I don't think anything in the US does.
Right. And so it was like, okay, well, we can't really talk about that. But in terms of their Android 15 skin, yeah, it's so weirdly slow and it's kind of ugly. And it's very odd because it's gotten worse the more work they've put into it. It used to feel very much like an AOSP skin and it was fine. And the second they started like trying to screw with it,
That's what I loved about it in 2024 and 3 was the fact that it didn't divert from much of what from Google was doing. It was, it felt like
and it does now.
I could jump in and use it and I wouldn't miss a beat. And that's,
I hate so much that the chop gesture and the wrist twist gesture for the camera and flashlight, that they're the only ones that do that. From the Moto X era.
Some of those little things are so nice, but then you get like, you know, the action button or whatever it's called on this is just like they're terrible AI tools. And
didn't they put like a little bit of every AI? Like they have Chat GPT, Perplexity, and Gemini in there. Like that is so messy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ben and I at the launch event had to listen to like videos from all three CEOs.
Oh no.
It is like their software experience, despite being like reasonably clean, feels like the least cohesive software experience on any phone right now.
I fully
and
agree.
it's for no reason.
Yeah. I think
identity
C's correct.
crisis more than anything.
Yeah. It's weird where it's like actually I would say nobody should buy the Plus because like that was just
there's no
warmed
reason
up
for that phone to
phone from
exist.
2014 that was no longer, or 2024 that was not like on sale or discounted. But the base model and the Ultra both have their like pros to them, but it's hard to recommend either, especially compared to like the last couple of years of Razors. Andrew,
very fast tangent. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
The Motorola software thing. Do you think they've just forgotten how to make software for phones with a good chip in them? That's all. I'm not gonna. We don't have to expand on that. That's just genuinely
It was
what
a quick
I'm
tangent.
coming to the realization of. Move on to the other phone.
The Honor, Andrew, this was a phone you reviewed, so we can start with you. But the Honor Magic 7 Pro, I believe.
On this list. Yeah, it's the 7 Pro.
Yeah,
Magic 7 Pro.
How do you feel?
Oh gosh, and this is all on me too.
Yeah.
All of you.
Well, no, I've used the RS. Is the RS edition the
okay,
purple one that's really nice?
Yeah,
I've used
that
that one.
vary in specs at all? I don't remember.
Pretty close enough.
Maybe a bigger battery and a ton more storage, and maybe the camera's slightly better. Maybe
Okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do know that it was nice. I did like it.
Yeah, we can combine both of those. They're close enough.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. The OS is gonna hold it back for me quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
It's just it's chunky, it's hard to use, and the reliance on AI for every little thing just is overwhelming. The other thing too is the camera's good, but a lot of the AI features are locked to cellular or internet connection, which is funny because a lot of this review I did out of the country. It was kind of difficult to test.
So you didn't have to.
I did technically, but it was choppy at best. So a lot of the features that we were, looking at, like ultra zoom or AI enhanced zoom and everything, just wasn't working properly. And I'd say it's expensive too. That's the other thing. I'd say C.
Okay.
It is.
I think C's fair.
Decent phone for Europe, which is right because it's not here in the US. It's got a decent camera, really good battery,
Gorgeous hardware.
It
is
is always.
I will say the hardware and the internals do elevate it. The screen is incredible. I will say
It's frustrating when software, because like it's kind of the story of OnePlus 2. It's one of those things where it's like, I mean, in Motorola we were just talking about, it's these companies need to get their software game together because it's just not keeping up with their hardware, with their exceptionally made hardware.
I find myself thinking a lot. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but I'm getting tired of all these I don't know, it just feels like digital whiplash on some of the phones that we use, you know? Yeah. It just doesn't, there's no cohesive, you know, structure, like direction that they want to go. And that's kind of where this phone falls for me. I did like using it more than I thought I would. But there's work to be done on the software side for sure. So C feels.
Yeah, but that just means I think C is an easy one because it's an easy win for them to fix the software. But I don't know if Honor are going to do that. I think they have a lot of hangovers from the Huawei split, and Huawei, ordinarily the hardware was just light years ahead of everybody else, but the software was the single biggest sore point. Yeah. And the fact that they worked so closely with Google to help create the gestures that we use in Android Pie and then Android 10 is insane to me, because nobody at Google probably said to them, do you want to fix this? Because this looks horrendous and you could fix this pretty easily. Yeah. But yeah, it is what it is. I think C is perfect for the Honor Magic 7 Pro.
Yeah, that's fair.
The Nothing Headphones 1. Headphone 1?
Headphone 1?
Headphone 1.
I'll take the lead because I had 10 minutes with these. No. I have a lot of opinions for 10 minutes.
I cannot wear that in public. Even the black one. Okay, the black one is passable, the dark one. But with that white one, I have no idea who the hell wears that in public. It is screaming. It's fine on the phone because your hand mostly covers it. Right. It's not like eye level. But all that, I don't think it translates well to over-the-ear headphones.
Maybe I'm so old now that I like the analog nature of it. That looks like two cassettes on either side of your ear.
Skeuomorphism.
Yeah, skeuomorphism. I like the skeuomorphic design. I'm the opposite. I think that they are... Okay, so we need to go back a little bit. Ear 1, was it Ear 1 the first earbuds they did?
Yeah.
Nothing Ear, they looked great, felt great, integrated nicely with Android, sound horrendous. Ear 2... they listened to the criticism, which I think is one thing that Nothing do probably or have done in their infancy really, really well. Ear 2, fantastic. As good as a pair of Bluetooth earbuds for Android that you could get. Headphone 1, or headphones, because I think it's plural, I'm British, so we're plural. We have 2 headphones either side. These, out of the box, sound barely passable for the price you pay.
Wow.
With a little bit of tuning, I think they are quite decent. Mm-hmm. Hey, they're not going to replace you. You're not going to replace your Sennheiser HD 650s or a proper audiophile pair of cans. But as a decent, I like the controls. I like the little rolly thing. I don't know if you can even hear this on the mic. No, you can't because it's not powered on. Yeah, it makes a nice click. There's physical buttons here that I really like and they're really well thought out. There's a sense of chunkiness to them as well that I think Abner doesn't like, but I think it's nice that you get something that doesn't feel plasticky. It feels there's metal there.
How much again?
Saying that, $299. $299.
I like the hardware side. I like a lot. I agree with you.
What do you think of the sound profile?
The sound horrendous. Garbage.
Yeah, but
it's like if you filled
EQ? With the EQ,
garbage can with meat trimmings and then banged on it with a stick.
No, that's far too hard. That's way too harsh. No,
that's harsh.
When you get the EQ done,
I'm interested in your tuning that you did, because I couldn't get them right no matter what I
pulled a few from Reddit. There's a few from Reddit.
Oh, okay.
I want to shout out Sound Guys as well. Those guys did a template which is fantastic, and it sounds decent.
Okay.
Hey, they're not like 10 out of 10, 100% nowhere near it,
but that's the thing is I put them on and I tried, no matter what tuning I got, everything just felt like it had to have those low ends turned all the way up. You know, it didn't feel like there was any relief and there was no detail in the mids or highs, and it just it felt muddy, but it wasn't even like a warm muddy, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where it fell apart. It's just, I love the design. Honestly, I wouldn't wear them in public, I don't think. But like from a hang on your wall and look at them perspective, I don't have a problem with how they look at all. What are you gonna say?
All of this is sounding like a C tier at the highest.
I fully agree with the C tier.
I think D, just in fairness.
For me, D? I used them for a lot of travel this year.
Okay.
I think they are I think where I landed on them when I stopped using them at the end of the year, where I landed on them was they are a good, less expensive alternative to like the Sony line of headphones, because the battery life is really good. Like that is one thing they have going for them is the battery life is phenomenal. The software on Android, the app, is very good. It's better than most
it is as well.
And that's something I think they don't get enough credit for.
Yeah, no,
the sound, once you tune it to your tastes, is still not great. It's still way too bass heavy, low end heavy, but it is perfectly acceptable. Because I do think the sound was their biggest misstep. The Nothing Ear from last year, the 2024 model, was stunning sound. It was perfect. And then this year they just decided we want to go for like the Beats audience for some reason, and they ruined it. They did the same thing with the Ear 3 earbuds. I would say they're a middle of the pack C, just because battery life, software, design is I think it's nice. The controls are really good, and the price is really good. The only thing that really takes them down in my book is that the sound is not what it should have been.
Are they priced for the sound quality, in your opinion? Like, does the price reflect?
Because they're in the same ballpark as like JBL. Like, they're not. I don't think they're like noticeably worse than like a $300 pair of JBL headphones. They're definitely not like in the Sony ballpark, which is what I would mainly compare them to. I think Sony sounds better, but Sony's also like $200 more if I remember correctly.
But JBL to me like seem passable. Like
JBL is passable out of the box. Nothing is passable once you make your tuning.
Once you tune it,
I guess that's where my argument falls apart. I haven't.
But that's where that's where I was thinking D. Because but at the end of the day, you've convinced me now, Ben, that the app, the integration with Android. I like the look. I think the battery as well. I think Nothing under-egged the battery life. I think, what did they rate it? Something like 35 hours, and I was getting like nearly 50.
I use these headphones for flying cross Atlantic to the launch event and back, and I did not charge them once, and I don't even think I hit 50% using them like from North Carolina to London and back. For all my flights, for killing time in the airport. It didn't even make a dent when you think about it.
Let's leave it. I'm the same. I traveled to Japan with these on one single charge, and I still haven't charged them. And that was like, I've turned them on a few times since, and they still have like 40% battery.
Yeah, I think they have enough pros to outweigh that the sound needs a lot of tuning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See it is. We'll make sure at the end, but I think that's a good spot for it. For this next one, just because we're going a little long, I'm gonna drop it where I assume it's gonna land, and if anybody wants to argue with me, you can, and then we can say good things. It's Material 3 Expressive. It's Android 16 in general, which I'll be curious if that drops it, but I'm just gonna put it in S tier for now, and then see what we want to do. Who doesn't like Material 3 Expressive for Android 16?
Absolutely no argument for me.
Okay.
None.
No.
Nope. None. And
no, it's the only one that's fresh, right?
I was just going to say, quick side comment. These days, everyone's trying to liquid glassify their Android skins. Google is, I feel like, the last one left that's doing something unique, doing something different in their own lane. And Material 3 Expressive was a hit. So
that's awesome. I figured that'd be easy. That was even easier than I thought. The Galaxy S25 Trio. So this is the regular S25, the S25 Plus, and the S25 Ultra.
My heart wants to put it lower than the Pixel 10 because the Pixel 10 is, I think, a better experience. But it's another one of those objectively on paper, it's as good. So I think it's a B. I think the software is decent. I think the hardware is objectively good. I think the prices are fine. Really, the only downside is just that like they didn't do Qi 2. They didn't make any major upgrades whatsoever. They're just boring, but they're perfectly fine.
That's true.
I think
that's fair.
I think my biggest problem with Samsung is the S25 Ultra specifically is they did the bare minimum, but the bare minimum was enough to nudge them into a position where everything is like 8/9 out of 10 across the board. Yeah. And that means that I think it's a little bit like the Pixel in a lot of respects, but I think with what Google did, they did their software. Samsung did their software their own way. And I think that's the only major difference. Although the screen, I keep coming back to that S25 Ultra screen, and I just stare at it. It's so good. That should be an S tier on its own. But I think B's perfect. B's a perfect position for S25.
Let me ask you guys this, and then we'll move on. And this can just be a yes or no. And this feels 100 years ago, does the S Pen Bluetooth controversy drop this at all for anybody?
Literally does not matter in the slightest.
Great. That's what I thought. I'm putting it in B tier. The Nothing Phone 3A, etc. There's like 18 3As at this point. But how do we feel about Nothing's lower mid-range options this year?
I think I spent the most time with these.
I think you did too, Ben.
The 3A and 3A Pro are, I would argue, for a high B. They're objectively good phones. They're good prices. The software is good. The 3A Lite is a travesty on humanity. And on its own is an absolute F. But I think the 3A and 3A Pro, combined with the fact that the 3A Lite is not sold in like the US and a lot of other regions, I will leave them at a B.
Okay. Like middle B.
It is exactly there. It is a little bit better than the Phone 3, but it is not near the Pixels and Galaxy S25s.
Huge disclaimer,
Nothing didn't even send me one, so I didn't see it.
Huge disclaimer, though. We need to see where this lock glimpse situation, the ads and the lock glimpse ads.
Yeah, but those aren't on the 3As and the 4As. That's specific. That was specifically for the bottom of the barrel cheap ones.
Oh, I thought it was on the
No,
3A
it's
and
on
3A
there,
Pro.
but it's not enabled.
Okay.
I don't have any opinion on the 3A and Nothing Phone.
I think that's totally a fair placement. The Pixel Snap is our next thing. So this is kind of just focusing on the Qi 2 capabilities and the accessories within the accessories we've seen become available over the past few months, I think is fair. So just kind of our first Qi 2 experience on Android outside of like random HMD devices. What do we think?
So this is not Pixel Snap specifically. This is just Qi 2 in the Pixel 10.
Pixel Snap, as well as various accessories, the experience of using Pixel Snap. I think all of that kind of fits into this. It was such a big deal that it felt like it was worth breaking out of the Pixel 10 on its own.
I agree.
So the Google's accessories are that the Pixel stand successor, the actual Pixel Sense cable, and that weird little stand thing, which I believe, Jordan, you had quality issues with.
Definitely did.
I haven't been using it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was happening about a week after it launched. We had a lot of issues with that.
So
it's such a shame because it's nice, but that little issue takes all the appreciation out of it when the screws are coming out.
Yeah, for real.
You know.
Meanwhile,
do
the
we
Pixel
think
Sense cable is too short at 1 meter. They should have at least done 1.5 or at least offered another solution.
Yeah.
And the stand itself is fine.
That's great.
Just fine.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Pixel Snap in its own right is, I mean, maybe because we've been starved of MagSafe for so long, I think that alone makes it feel like an S-tier device, S tier edition. But at the same time, it isn't, is it? It's basically, I think it's B, but for us, it's an A, isn't it? Because if it's the first devices to get them, I feel like A is fair.
For me, the technology, not to just really quick, the technology itself is the thing that excites me. It's the third party open, the floodgates are open, third party accessories are now usable. Whether they support the full 25 watts on the Pro or XL or whatever. But the accessories that Google, it felt like they were just they needed to put something out. Yeah, and that's fine because the value is in the myriads of like items that I can now attach to my phone or that have been sitting around that I want to use with my device, which is nice without a case too.
Yeah, I fully agree. I was going to say that the Qi 2 is an S. Pixel Snap, the first party accessories, are a B. So A seems right.
I like it.
And I do hope Google improves the accessories. Side question about Pixel Snap. Do we think we're going to see it in the 10A and forward?
Yeah, probably.
Definitely forward. I'll be curious to see about the A series. I have to imagine it makes its way in there eventually, if not this year.
If it does,
I don't think it's an expensive enough thing to skip out on.
It would be more of a differentiator in terms of not so much like the cost of the device, but Google wanting to be like, oh, like if you pay the, X dollars amount more than the A series, you get, one of the things you get is Pixel Snap. But, the leaks we've seen on the 10A leave it so similar to the 9A that I have to imagine that the upgrade is Pixel Snap. So
I hope so.
My cat has joined us for these final 5 categories. He's just rubbing on the mic. We've reached the OnePlus 15, which is not a device I thought I would be looking at these bottom 3 tiers for, but I think this is a bit of a swing and a miss on OnePlus's part. Anybody else feel similarly or different?
Which colors did you get?
I got the gray, the sandstone, which I think was part of the problem.
I think that diminished my experience a little bit, and it seems ridiculous to say because it picks up fingerprints and scuffs. Okay, that's by the by. Judging it on its merits, it's another OnePlus phone, a fast OnePlus phone.
Yeah.
The new chips do feel noticeably, and it seems ridiculous, but I don't know if that's because it's the 165 hertz screen, but they do feel noticeably faster than even the 8 Elite, which is insane to say.
I didn't notice a speed difference at all, but that might just be
I felt like it was faster, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, to be clear though, I don't think 165 activates by itself.
No, it's only on specific
other than
content.
gaming.
Yeah.
Is it 120 or 90 that it only goes up to, even if you select
120,
high?
at least on the 15. And this is just the 15, we should say, not the 15R. I'm sorry, Andrew,
but I have to imagine the experience is similar.
Very similar.
As far as screens goes.
I think let's go by that 2 steps backwards approach that OnePlus seems to have. I don't think it can be above a B. It cannot do that. The camera feels like a noticeable downgrade, even though there is some tuning elements from Hasselblad that I think they've carried over, even though there's no Hasselblad marking on it. I think when we look at it in isolation, it's fine. If we look at it at the broader picture, considering the OnePlus 13 came out technically in the same year in global markets, it can't be higher than a C. I think C would be really fair to it. Really, really fair.
Yeah, I think C is fair. I think maybe for
C
me
is generous.
I think
that's kind of what I'm getting.
It's the thing is that like the battery life experience is so wild to me.
So good.
That I think I have a hard time, even though I'm disappointed by this device, I would have a hard time putting it in D because the battery life was kind of its killer feature, where I was, halfway through day 3 and at like 24%. And I'm like, this is great.
There's
and
a lot of people out there that you could suggest this phone just on battery life.
100. And it'd be valid. If anybody bought this because they don't care about what Androids can, or, they're using and don't really care about cameras or whatever, the cameras in this are fine enough. They're not bad. They're just a step down. If all you were interested in is a phone that will last you days at a time and then can recharge in 30 minutes or even just get a usable charge in 10, this is that phone. So I think C's fair.
To be fair though, on that, you could just do the R version and technically
that's true.
Similar
that's
or
true.
Same.
Yeah, the 15R feels very similar to like the 13R to the 13, where it's kind of like a lot of the things that were good about the regular 15 are still there. A lot of the things that were not so good are still there. And it's just a couple of cut corners to bring that price down. Okay, we have our last software update. This is One UI. This one's a little complicated. It's One UI 8, but also kind of One UI 7 because this was a weird year for Samsung. But mostly One UI 8. But these are so similar to each other that I think it's kind of worth taking in a bundle together. So, what do you guys think about Samsung's software experience of 2025?
One UI 7, when it came out, felt like a really good, really needed refresh.
Yeah, I agree.
That was quickly realized to be not enough of a refresh. It does feel different and feels better than One UI 6 did, but not enough. And then One UI 8 came and is kind of just the same thing.
Yeah.
And now One UI 8.5 is in beta and is now adding some liquid glass crap. So it's Samsung's software feels so directionless right now.
Yeah.
It's like they cannot decide between three paths. And those three paths are their own path, which is where One UI 7 was going. Liquid glass, which is where One UI 8.5 is leaning towards. And then they're just completely ignoring the third path of just do Material 3 that looks great, has been basically universally praised.
Right.
And they could absolutely modify it to their own tastes, and it would probably look pretty good. Like Google has given Android such a unique identity, and Samsung's kind of just ignoring it. On principle, that feels like a C to me.
It's funny how, because I agree, I had the same experience with Samsung software this year, Ben, where I thought One UI 7 actually felt like a step forward for the company. And then by the time One UI 8 rolled around, I was like, ugh, this again. And I think it was Material 3 expressive. I think once we saw that and we saw Samsung not chase after it, it was like, oh, well, I could be having that experience over there. Why am I having this experience over here when it's noticeably better over there? I think that kind of screwed up, some of the goodwill that this update had. I also wonder how much of the goodwill was us just happy that One UI 7 got a vertical app drawer. But I don't know. That's not
That's true. That is very true.
I was happy about
I'm
it.
the opposite.
Okay.
I really rated One UI 7, and I think One UI 7 alone was an A tier because it righted some of the things that really frustrated me about Samsung's direction with One UI in general. They were like kind of throw everything and not have a cohesive experience. I'm not one of those people who care about those like 1/1,000th of a animation frame when I close my application, but they're there. They do help. I do think they do help on a smooth screen. There was a lot of changes that they made I think it's going to sound ridiculous, but I actually quite like the split quick settings panel that they added.
Yeah,
I guess is
I think C feels fair.
I think C feels fair too.
Like you both have alluded to, once Material 3 Expressive is introduced, it feels stupid for Samsung to diverge so far away from Google in a lot of respects, because obviously like they can stand on their own 2 feet a little bit, because obviously Google's not going to ever match them in sales figures. So Samsung can kind of lead from the front and be like, hey, they could almost steal Google's homework and be like, Material 3 Expressive is our thing. Kind of, and put their own spin on it. I don't know why they don't do that, because there is elements of liquid glass. Is it liquid glass?
Yeah.
What's it called?
With One UI 7, I've always felt it was derivative of iOS, of the previous version of iOS. So like everything from how the app switcher, the recent menu multitasking, how it's that always felt so derivative to me, and I found it wild that people liked it because it was just so derivative. And maybe that breath of fresh air. I just think it was so derivative. So yeah, I have no idea why people liked it.
It was just Android enough for me to.
But it was continuing what they did. They've always done this. They've always copied common iOS elements, and I just thought that was the name of that kept it up in 7.
It made me forget for a minute because it was decent enough to make me forget for a minute, and then I don't know. I don't have a massive amount of experience with some of the changes that made, but
For me, somehow yes, they were derivative of iOS, but at the same time, things like the app drawer switching felt more like Android than Samsung had felt in a bit. Yeah, like it felt like they were finally acknowledging, hey, we're an Android phone. Let's do Android things. We're not just Samsung. But like I said, they have 3 paths. They're not going down. They're leaning back towards like, hey, let's just copy iOS again.
Yeah. I think C tier is fine. It's not doing anything egregious, and I think it's certainly better than like what we've seen from Nothing, which we also have in the C tier, though we have lower at the moment. I think that's fair though. I think this was what appeared to be promising on the tin at the start of the year was maybe not so much. Also, Abner reminded me that like the weather app was a straight up, like before One UI 8 was still a straight rip off of iOS. Like I completely forgot that there were elements like that. Same with the app switcher. Yeah, I think C is fair. The Pixel 9a, our last smartphone on this list, the Pixel 9a. I love this thing.
I love it too, and I would, if I could, I would use it over the 10 Pro.
I agree.
But it doesn't have the AI features.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
It's a great phone. Lately it went on sale for $350, which is
it's a steal.
Really good for this device.
Yeah. I think it's an A tier, to be honest with you. I think it's a little bit better. I really like the design. I know people had an issue with it being, generic. My argument has been from the jump that a camera bumpless design is more user friendly. It's not my problem. It's Google's problem to worry about brand recognition, not mine. This is a better experience than having a big camera bar stick out of your pocket. I think this thing's great. I think it's probably A tier. Anybody disagree?
Cool. Is there a case for S? What's the case against S? I really like this phone.
The bezels?
I think
people don't like the bezels.
Yeah, I think the bezels do hold it back a tiny bit.
I didn't have a problem with the bezels, but maybe
when you think about the price range. Yeah, I don't like the bezels, but for $350 or was it $499 normal?
$500 full price. Yeah, it's not too bad.
I think they could have done a little bit more with the camera, but I know that they're working on a bit of a budget. I think that probably does hold it back a tiny bit because just being logical for a second, you could get last year's flagship phone at launch, probably. Sorry, at the launch period of the 9A for competitive prices. So for the sake of like an extra $100, you could get do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe that was a bit unfair. I think upper A is very, very where it should be. The A series always seems to slap, and this one was an absolute slapper.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of the 8A too. It was the 7A was the last time I didn't like one of these, but that was more of a Tensor G2 problem than anything. I like that.
Next year, it will be going back down.
Well, yeah, we'll cross that bridge in 12 months. Our last wearable now, the Pixel Watch 4. Of both its sizes. How do we feel about Google? Well, I know how Abner feels about Google's wearable experiences this year, but we can start with you, Abner.
Screen is jarring. Going back to a flat screen is absolutely jarring. To what Andrew was saying about a mechanical watch feel, there are some mechanical watches that curve, not too much, but this feels like an opinionated thing that puts it in a step above, honestly, the other stuff. So it is definitely an A, and my thinking is whether it's an S.
It feels more substantial without that bulk.
I can make one. I think it's probably going to fall on S, but if you guys will allow me to make the one argument that maybe would hold it back, I would say it is a little annoying that they changed chargers again. That's my one argument. Disagree. But I'm not even saying that's enough to drop it from an S, but that would be my argument towards A.
I was super skeptical of the charger and also very annoyed that they changed it again. And I was reminded of that when I took a trip and had to pack a charger for mine and for my wife's watch. Yeah. But I think the charger is excellent because it's so fast.
Okay.
No, I personally very much think this is an S because I think they have finally achieved the vision they wanted from the first one.
Absolutely agree.
In terms of the performance, the design, the display, like it's just great. And the work they're doing with it is great. Like the gestures, the new pinch gestures, and then also just raise to talk Gemini genuinely makes this a more useful product. I think it is the first time in years I have felt like I have a reason to wear my smartwatch beyond just notifications and fitness.
Yeah, that's fair.
Does that change between the two models for you, or is it S for both?
No, I think it's S for both.
Yeah. Like it's just a screen size
just what
difference.
You want.
Yeah.
The size difference is just, like, what do you like, and do you care about, maybe sacrificing easy battery life?
Yeah. We've reached our final product. It's one I'm going to throw to Abner to directly because he might be the only person who's used it. That might not be true, but we're definitely going to start.
Jordan,
okay,
what's your
Jordan
thoughts
has
on
it.
it?
All right, we'll start with Jordan.
Me and Damien have talked for a long time about this stupid product, the Galaxy XR headset. Oh my God. Behind the scenes, no viewers know how much me and Damien have talked about it and shared opinions trying to, talk out what this device actually is. So, did you have a question, Will, or?
No, I tell me about your time with it, Jordan. Cause let's start with, Abner has been on podcasts to talk about it with me. You have not. So let's start with you. How is your time with the Galaxy XR?
So for me, I think I have 4 main takeaways from this device. Things I've learned after I've used it almost every day for a full month and a half, which one, this is basically an Android desktop PC that you strap to your face. Like, everyone thinks of VR as like this hard to grasp concept, especially if you haven't used it, but it's literally a desktop operating system. If you put it on a laptop, it would work very similarly. Like it's meant for productivity, not just for gaming.
Yeah.
The second takeaway I have from that is that Damien made this video. It's gonna bomb, or what was it? What was the title? I forget. Dead on Arrival. And he is partially right. Immediately, people might not jump into it, especially for $1,800. But the VR space desperately needs competition. Right now, it's only Meta and Apple that are like gigantic names when it comes to VR.
And Steam. Valve.
Yeah, you have Valve coming.
Yes. They're coming up with their new headset. Because of that, Google has to release the Galaxy XR. This is kind of my third point. Google has to have
Samsung.
Samsung, Android has to be represented in the Android XR space because that, according to just some research I've done, apparently it's supposed to be $100 billion market by the end of the 2020s. And Google and Android cannot miss out on that opportunity. And then the third example, which is what Abner brought up in his review, is, to me, Android XR is the perfect third computing device. I feel like right now a lot of people want a laptop and a phone and a tablet, but the tablet, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, tablets aren't that much different of an experience.
Yeah.
But XR is a completely different experience still in the world of Android. So to me, it's like a perfectly valid, third computing device. So for me, it's an A-tier device because also the displays inside are so sharp. Like I can put the headset on. The displays in the XR are better than any display I have in the house right now.
You don't wear glasses, right?
I do not wear glasses, so that would probably be a big pain for somebody for sure. But
I wear glasses.
Did you
and I
get
bought the optical inserts? Yeah.
Okay. How do those work?
Seamless. I never think about them.
Okay.
I
So
will say,
you had A there.
Just one last thing. Maybe it is a B because the controllers were not available at launch.
That's right.
Yes, this is a productivity device, but people want to game on it.
Yeah.
Controllers were not available at launch. I think they're still not available 1 month later. They're $250, not bundled in. So the way I see it and the conclusion I've come to is instead of paying $250 and waiting 2 months for the controllers to come in, I will pay $350 for a used MetaQuest and I will beat that up for gaming and all the junk that I want to do on the MetaQuest. $100 more for a dedicated device just to beat it up like that, I'm totally fine with. So that's my last point, Abner. What do you got?
Even the 3S, really quickly, like the Quest 3S has been $250 this entire holiday season. Like it's the exact same price as the controllers, which I just think is
no
funny.
reason not to get that Meta device specifically for gaming. There's no reason not to get it, but for productivity, Galaxy XR is awesome.
To Damien's video, the DOA video, I think that this is not meant to be a mass market device. If it were a mass market device, it was not doing well. If Samsung wanted it to be a mass market device, they would have started cutting the price to make it competitive when they saw that people aren't buying it. So they are well aware that this is not a mass market device.
Correct.
My thinking was around a C actually, because with that in mind, this device is just putting their stake in the ground. It is not meant to be a consumer device. It is not meant to be a successful consumer device. It is just getting test hardware out there. And I say this with the hindsight of being able to use Xreal's Project Aura, because I think that is true optical pass-through AR versus the camera stuff. And I think, Jordan, once you get to use that, I also think that if we should have gotten that one instead of the Samsung headset.
Really?
Which is, it is optical pass-through. It's very competitive. So I'm at a C, open to a low B, but I think, so maybe what's bringing me to a B would be that this is not a Vision Pro copycat.
Yeah.
The Samsung genuinely had some clever ideas in terms of making it light with plastic, not going for that race. The open design where you can see the world by just looking down, that's genuinely good. So from the fact that it's not a Vision Pro copycat, that they had genuinely good ideas, they made it at I think a significantly lower price point in the Vision Pro.
It is.
That to me, I can see it in the B.
I think low B is
solid B.
Fair. Jordan, do you feel good about that?
Yeah, I think low B is fair. I'll have to look into this Xreal. If I knew more about the Xreal, I trust Abner on that. So if he says Xreal is somewhat above and beyond Galaxy XR, I trust him on that insight.
Yeah.
So yeah, low B, high C, totally fair. Cool. Once the price comes down, $1,000. Just saying, it's probably a great device at that point.
That's why I'm so excited for what Valve is doing, because they have said it's going to be cheaper than the Index, and the Index was $1,000, and even as something that is gaming or entertainment focused, that has my name written all over it.
Yeah, I'll be buying.
Especially because SteamOS is still it's just Linux, so you can still use a desktop interface. It's just not going to be the same thing.
Yeah. Guys, that's all of them. I'm gonna run down. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. So I will say, Abner's thought on Oxygen OS 16 has not left my brain this entire time. I think we have to move the OnePlus 13 and 13R down a bit.
Boo.
I think that's fair. I think A tier is totally acceptable. I think if OnePlus had not sort of, as we've all agreed, it's in D tier, botched a bit of Oxygen OS 16, that would probably still be an S tier. But I think that's totally fair. But I think our A tier phones of the Fold 7 with the Flip 7, the Pixel 9a and the OnePlus 13 and 13R, that's a great little lineup of phones right there. Mm-hmm. I think I feel good about that. Is there anything else you guys feel should be changed? And then I will maybe read out, just for the audio listeners, where everything landed, and we can wrap up.
No
F.
I feel pretty good about this.
No Fs. I know. I'm kind of surprised. My guesses on what would end with F were kind of what was.
The 3A Lite was on this list, it'd be F.
If which one?
The 3A Lite. If that was on this list by itself, total F.
It wouldn't. It doesn't deserve to be on the list. Like, truly,
there you go.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and we left off. I'm sure if we really thought about it, we could come up with some more smaller releases that could maybe fit in F, or even just like product launches. But I think overall this has been like a decent year for consumer tech. It's just a matter of, were there any there weren't as many huge S tier products either. Everything was kind of like, yeah, this is pretty good, which is not a terrible place for the market to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's fair.
Let me read this out real quick, and then we'll wrap up. In the S tier, we have Material 3 Expressive / Android 16 and the Pixel Watch 4. In A tier, we have the Fold 7 and Flip 7, the Pixel 9a, the OnePlus 13 and 13R, the Galaxy Watch 8 and 8 Classic, and Pixel Snap. In B tier, we have the Pixel 10 series, the Galaxy S25 series, Nest 2025 portfolio, the Nothing Freudian slip there, the Nothing 3A series, phone 3A series, the Nothing 3, the Buds 2A, the Pixel Buds 2A, and the Galaxy XR. In C tier, we have One UI 7/8. We have Motorola's Razr series for this year. We have the Honor Magic 7 Pro. We have the OnePlus 15, Nothing Headphone 1, Nothing OS 4. And then in D tier, our last two, we have Oxygen OS 16 and the Galaxy S25 5 Edge. Wow, God, the longer I went in that, the more I was like, I am screwing these up. There we go. Damien, do you want to take us out? And also, thank you guys for joining me, because this has been a blast.
This was fun.
Yes. Yeah. I think we've set the world to rights this year. There's a lot of more products, like you say, Will, that we missed. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little bit of I guess it's been a party atmosphere. We've been at loggerheads with things, but nothing too drastic. We haven't fallen out with each other, have we, guys?
No. I thought you and me were going to argue about Galaxy XR. I was waiting for you to get in there, man.
No. We could, but maybe that's another podcast.
Another podcast.
There we go.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for listening this year. We really appreciate your time and patience with us and listening to us week in, week out. If you have the opportunity, please leave a review, rate us, share with your friends. It means the world to us. And I want to just say again, happy holidays, happy New Year, happy Christmas, whatever you're celebrating right now. And we will be back early in the new year, ready to set the world to rights again for 2026. We go again, as always. So thanks for joining us, guys. And thank you, team. I'll speak to you all soon as well.
Bye, guys. We're all going to have to say bye at the same time. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Pixelated, a 9to5 Google podcast. If you enjoyed the show, we ask that you rate and review it on the podcast platform of your choice, and help spread the word by sharing the show with friends or on social media.